right, everybody, this is perhaps the most important thing we're going to talk about. Once you've generated, you can't do sales unless you have good leads and you capture those leads, right? Well, Evie Hernanez, she's going to talk about lead generation and capturing it so that you can make sales and, more importantly, make money. And I think that that's what this young lady in the front was talking about earlier in her question. So listen up. We're going to talk about converting it into cash.
Thank you very much. Awesome. So by a show of hands, can I see how many of you want to make more money? And can I see how many of you would like to attract more affluent clients to your business? Awesome. And how many of you would like to have more of both? Awesome, great. So I want to know, my name is Evie Hernandez, and you've come to the right training. And what I'm going to talk to you about today is how to attract, capture, and convert affluent clients. And the first thing I want to do is to acknowledge you for being here. You know, there's a saying that says that 80% of success is just what? Showing up. So you're already 80% there. And since I cannot pat down and say congratulations to each and every one of you, why don't you go ahead and pat your neighbor in the back and tell them congratulations for being here. Good job. That wasn't so hard, was it? Now, I do want to thank you for your time, because your time is money. And I also want to thank you for your courage. And what I mean by that, I want to thank you for your courage to be an entrepreneur. Because wouldn't you agree with me that it takes a lot of courage to be an entrepreneur? Yes or yes?
Yes.
Absolutely. Okay, anytime I do any kind of training, I have 2 rules. How many? 2. So the first rule is this. The first rule is for you to be in the now, in the here. In when? Now. And the second rule is, you might have a little voice inside your head that say, I already know that. I heard that already. Do you know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Okay, so I want to know by a show of hands, when you hear that little voice, can you just say, thank you for sharing. Now let me listen. Good or good? Awesome. And the reason why I say that is because what I want you to do is to take a pen and pad, paper, whatever, your iPad if you have one, and write down some things. Because I'm going to be talking about a lot of things that you've heard before. And I may be talking about something that you've never heard before. So if you never heard it before, you want to jot that down, right or right? Right. Now, if you did hear it before, but you haven't implemented it yet, what do you want to do with that?
Right or right?
You want to write it because you want to implement it, right? So that's what I want you to do. So I want you to really take notes, and at the end we'll have some time for questions. And they say that training, when you do a training with adults, it goes a lot easier if I get audience participation. So how many of you are willing to participate?
Right.
Awesome, I appreciate that. So as you see, I like to ask a lot of questions. Would you agree with that?
Right.
Yes. And do you know why I ask a lot of questions?
Make sure you pay attention.
What was that? To engage you. So now you learned the first rule that we must do if we want to engage our clients and get their attention. We want to ask a lot of questions. True or true? How many of you have noticed that when you ask questions and engage people in social media, you actually get them talking to you and you get conversations going? So that's what we want to do. So I want to see by a show of hands, how many of you, no matter what I ask you, won't raise your hands? Okay, good. I think I got you. There's a gentleman in the back. Okay, great. So what I want to do is to talk about attracting the affluent. So I'm going to talk to you about the affluent. And I want to talk to you about social media. Because the fact is that over 73% of people use social media. And we could do a quick test here. How many of you are always on Facebook? How many of you are on Google+? Twitter? What about LinkedIn? Can I see how many of you use LinkedIn? Is there anyone here who does not use social media? No. So you see what I mean? There, we just did a test. Everyone's on social media. So we want to make sure that we get ourselves in social media, and that's why we have this today. And one of the things I want to tell you that in the first rule that we're going to talk about is about attracting. That I'm writing called Attract, Capture, Convert Affluent Clients. And so that's why I'm sharing this. And by the way, there's a box right here. I have two drawings that I'm doing today. So if you like your name drawn at the end, make sure you drop your business card. And if you want my business card is there. So the first gift that I'm giving is a little dated. Yeah, I did this DVD, audio CD back in 2010, pardon. Okay, I was going to say it's really old. And so I'm going to be giving this away. And also I'm going to be giving two more things. $200, fake $100 bills for 2 strategic marketing sessions. So those of you that are interested, make sure that you put your business card there. Okay, so this particular data that I'm going to share with you is pretty new, as you can see, and it shows something very, very important here, and that is in terms of social media, where professionals are the most, and how often professionals go there, and it shows the difference between B2B and B2C. But I want to know, how many of you do B2B here, business to business? Okay, awesome. And how many of you are B2C? Okay, so those of you that are B2C, you can notice that for B2C, mostly what wins out? Facebook. And for those of you that are B2B, LinkedIn, exactly. Now, I'm going to be talking to you about the affluent and where we can find them. And I want to tell you that most of what we do at XoomIM, Internet Marketing Agency, has a lot to do with SEO. And who knows what SEO stands for?
Search engine optimization.
Exactly. And how many of you knew that actually social media can enhance your search engine optimization?
Yep.
How many? So aside from search engine optimization, I want you to learn social engine optimization. How many of you are up for social engine optimization? So that's what we want to do. We want to attract more people through our social media. That's the reason why we're here, right? Okay, good. So that's what we're going to talk about. In this particular study, as I said, that's what it shows. So we're going to talk about specifically today about LinkedIn. And the reason for that is because what I have found in my experience is that most affluents are in LinkedIn. Most professionals, more entrepreneurs. How many of you would agree with that?
Yep.
Awesome. So that's what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about using LinkedIn to attract the affluent, how to capture them through their interests and their lifestyles, how to convert them with valuable contents, offers, and call to actions. And at the end, if we have time, we'll do Q&A. I know he said we're going to leave early, so I put my email there because I want to make sure that if you have a question, you can go ahead and email me at info@xoomim.com. And I want to make sure to get to your questions. So who are the affluent? So this particular slide, which most of the slides that I'm going to talk about who are these affluents, come from the same source. And if we just focus on not so much the ultra or the super, let's talk about just the affluent. For the most part, these are people that make more than what?
$1 million.
$1 million. And how many of us would like more of those clients? Good, awesome. One of the things that I've discovered is, and tell me if you agree with me, in social media, their affluent prefers social media to other means. And the reason for that is most people, of course, have a mobile device, and many people have what else? iPads. And they're with them everywhere, even places that the iPad should not be, right? So we find that the affluent are just like this. They love digital and they love to be on the internet. So most of their consumption, as we're discovering, not just for the affluent, but for many of us, is, and most of the research is done all through the internet. But where are they? So as we look at the difference between the general population and the affluent, those that make over $100,000 a year, what we have found in this research, and it wasn't done by us, it was done by this other company that I talked to you about, is that 98% of the affluent are actually using the internet. So if you want to reach them, you definitely want to be on the internet. Now, who are the affluent? What do we notice with this slide? Who do we see as who the affluent are? The baby boomers, absolutely. Another thing about the affluent is that they're very educated. Now, this is something very important for us to know because we talked about attracting them, and when we get into the area of actually what we're going to do, and keywords are going to have a lot to do with LinkedIn and getting found, what we find is that you want to put stuff out there that's actually helping people who are educated and educated consumers, which in reality aren't most of us educated consumers because we're always researching and wanting to find out before we make a purchase, right? And here is a slide that's more pertinent perhaps to us. Where are they? This particular study looked at the 10 major metropolitan areas ranked by their investable assets. And as you can see there by the star, we made it to the list. So is that good news for us?
Yeah.
Absolutely. That means that right here in Paradise, in South Florida, we have these customers available. Now, why might I say that to you? Well, because although we're using the internet, everything, especially for me and my business, is localized. How many of you do most of your business local? And how many of you do it mostly not local, outside of the state of Florida? And the rest of you?
Don't do a business.
You're not doing business. Okay, well, thank you. Those are the ones that won't raise their hands no matter what. I'm keeping you awake. So one of the reasons why you want to consider using LinkedIn more perhaps than Facebook if you're targeting B2B and if you're targeting the affluent is because most of the affluent, and please correct me in this research, would you say have their own business?
Yes.
Exactly. And where are they on social media then? On LinkedIn. So that's why we want to be on LinkedIn. This is another study, once again, indicating to the fact that LinkedIn is where you want to be. Now, you may be wondering, so now that I know this, how do I actually connect with them? Or, as Deanne said, engage. Right, Deanne? And so we need to know more about them. Where are they? And so this particular study looked at where the affluent may be and more about their lifestyles. And what they found is that they like, surprise, surprise, boating and sailing. I mean, I think we all like boating and sailing, am I right? The difference is here that they do it often and they're very involved, and this is very much part of their lifestyle. So if I have this piece of information and I'm thinking about who I want to target, what might I do with this? Anyone? This is audience participation. So where would I want to go?
The boat show.
Online. Where would we want to go online? Yeah, that may be so, but online, where would we want to engage people?
Yacht magazine.
Yacht Terrace.
Come on, just shout it out.
Johnny?
So you may want to go to some groups, or what else might you want to do? You may want to join some groups that have interest, whether it's professional groups or interest groups or networking groups within LinkedIn that revolve around these types of lifestyle events, lifestyle groups. Does that make sense? Another, wow, they're also into golf. Now, how many golfers do we have in the house? Ooh, good. So they're also into golf. So another thing that we may want to do, we may want to go and visit these golf groups, okay, and look for people that are involved with anything to do with golf. That way you can start communicating, engaging, meeting some of these people on LinkedIn. They're also into cooking, collectibles, antiques, and arts, which, once again, we may all be into these things, right? This is specifically so that we know where to find the people that we're looking for. Where are they? Because I know that, are there any Mary Kay consultants here? I don't want to offend them. I love Mary Kay. Are there any Mary Kay consultants? Okay. One of the things that I found is that Mary Kay consultants say, I do business with everyone who has skin. That's not true. We can afford the luxury of saying I can do business with anyone. We really have to narrow it down. And the best way to narrow it down is to go to where our ideal client is. So if we go to LinkedIn, I want to give you a few tips. Keywords. I told you that my company, XoomIM, what we focus on the most is organic SEO. And one of the reasons for this is when you're looking for something on the internet, how many of you first go to Google? And how many of you put keywords? So the first thing is, even on LinkedIn, your profile that you have should be a profile that is clearly indicates what it is that you're offering. Does that make sense to you? So work with your profile, and then, on the search bar for LinkedIn, see and check often, where are you? Are you appearing on the first page, on the third page? Pick words and keywords within LinkedIn that make sense, that people are actually looking for. The other thing, how many of you have seen this new feature, posts on LinkedIn? Just a few of you? So basically it allows you now to put a whole, like a blog, and you can share it. Has anyone seen this? Just a few of you? This is coming, and I guess everyone's going to have it. Basically what it is, it's like a blog. You'll be able to have it right on LinkedIn. Now, why is this good for you and to attract the affluent?
Brings distribution channel.
Exactly. Now you're going to be able to have more of a voice because you'll be able to share your content right on LinkedIn. How many of you think that's great?
Yeah.
Good. This is basically talking about the different groups that you may want to join. These are some of the ones that I'm in, okay? And since we only have 5 minutes, what I want to let you know is that if you go to our website and you type events, actually we have ongoing, I call them Zoominars, that are free, that you can join right from your office or your home, and you can listen at your leisure. And these are the two that are coming up. Get Found, Get Leads, Get Result. It's a virtual seminar that's coming up. And then the Attract, Convert with Inbound Marketing, which is what this whole social media day has been about inbound marketing. In this particular seminar, what we talk about is the benefits of inbound marketing, which is attraction marketing. So if you want to find out more, make sure you go visit. And since I'm also part of the Constant Contact Area Local Experts, I like to tell people, if you want to find out more, make sure to go ahead and text 22828 and ask to join our list where we send out tips on how to attract, capture, convert more leads from the internet.